Good morning, Erin. So the government is talking about having a new regulator, and they're talking about having regular MOTs for the water companies. Frankly, though, it's actually disgraceful, because what the government is really doing here, and the story that you won't hear, is that they are continuing with business as usual with the privatised system. So they're trying to dress it up and spin it as the biggest overhaul in a generation. What we're seeing is a continuation of the privatised water system that has led to all of these failings. So our water's been privatised since 1989. We've had privatisation and regulation. And so profit has been the priority. And what that's led to now is it's really kind of crumbling around us, because you see, Southeast Water last week, 30,000 households didn't even have access to water. Why? Because the company was investing in the dividends for their shareholders in Australia and Canada rather than investing in the infrastructure. Will the government's new plans fix that? No, they won't. Thames Water wants to be polluting until 2040 outside of current legal limits to try to make up the cash that it's been spending on its shareholders. And again, these plans won't fix that. So if they really want to fix the water industry, they need to be ending privatisation.
I mean, how realistic is that? And how much of a backlog of remedial work is there needed across the country, but in the capital especially? I mean, the sort of the infrastructure is crumbling.
Yeah, so, and then they said they'd put up our bills in April, which they did, by 35%. So we're all paying more. But actually, where does the investment from the water industry come from? It comes from our bills. These shareholders, they're not in it to give us money, they're in it to make money. They're in it to extract revenue. And if you think about it, because water is a natural monopoly, we don't actually get a choice. We're a revenue stream for investors around the world. And it's not actually normal, the way that we've set things up in England. It's a real outlier, and it's really an ideological experiment that we've had, because elsewhere in the world, 9 out of 10 countries run water in public ownership. So we could do the same. How do you do it? You said, is that realistic? I think it definitely is, because what the government can do is they can step in and remove the company licenses of the water companies that aren't performing. So if you have a water company that isn't providing access to water, or that wants to increase their sewage, and they're financially collapsing, and that's, to describe companies like Thames, they can step in. The government's been sitting on this Thames Water farce now for actually not just months, but years. Thames Water, its own shareholders don't want to invest in it. So what you would do is you'd remove its licence, take it into special administration. You can do that because it's financially insolvent, or you can do it because it's failing to fulfil its statutory duties by allowing raw sewage to pour into our rivers. Either way, bring it into permanent public ownership, transfer it into public ownership. That way, all of the money that we're all spending in our bills every month can actually go into the infrastructure instead of being extracted. And people get this. That's why 7 out of 10 people want water in public ownership. We have to put an end to this fast. But the government is basically propping up these shareholders and saying, we're just going to carry on. We're going to tweak the system a bit around the edges. And it's really not good enough.
Is that the best possible outcome then for the consumer? Because again, day to day, we talk about the cost of living, the price of living, which keeps on going up and up and up. Is this the best possible outcome for the regular Joe?
Well, I think for the regular Joe, we want to know, if you're actually spending money on a water bill, you want that money to go into the infrastructure. If they're going to increase bills that much, the money should be going directly into the infrastructure. But it's not. That it's going out in dividends. It's a system that is run for profit. And the handful of investors around the world who own the water in England, they're onto a great deal. It's a great investment for them because they're getting money back from us. But actually, we want to know the money from our bills is going into the infrastructure. The government is actually who needs to stop hiding. They need to stop putting up the regulator and the private water companies as if this system can be solved, and actually take responsibility and run water for people and for the environment, which is what 9 out of 10 countries in the world do.
Absolutely. Really good speaking to you this morning, Kat. Thank you so much for the insight.